Welcome back to Trail Talk. I'm your host, Aaron Shimmons. We are here for our weekly live show. It's Christmas show. What is it? The 23rd of December.
Yo.
Let me get a look at you. Are you Christmassy? Aye, look at that. Look at that. That's perfect.
That was like lastminute.com now. Literally Trina rescued me there and found me something that she had lying around like.
It looks suitably ridiculous, and I love it. For anyone that's watching or on audio, Ricky's got a Christmas hat on, and I'm gonna say it's a little elfish. It is a little
It's an elf.
elfish.
It's definitely an elf hat. Yeah, it suits, you know. The shoe fits. The shoe
Yeah,
fits.
it fits perfectly. All right, let's go. It's Trail Talk every week. This is the Christmas week show. I
Ho
mean,
ho ho.
Ricky, it's been over a year of doing the live shows now. It's like 13 months into weekly live shows. We'll get into that later on. But thanks everyone for joining. If you can't stick around, you can catch up on YouTube or wherever you do your pods. You can watch it on video on Spotify or YouTube or audio everywhere else. I'm your host, Aaron Shimmons,
And I'm Ricky Wynn.
and I'm in Australia and you're in Ireland. Both complete polar opposites of weather right now. It is absolutely scorching here, and it's not scorching for you. How's it going?
No. No, I'm angry every time I see your stories, man. It's like 38 degrees there at the minute where you are, and it's that's insanely hot, but it sounds lovely. Like it sounds like it's just lovely.
There's Pat and Carol in the chat. Good to see you guys. And Ronan, happy Christmas to everybody. Let's crack on with the show. This is the last podcast sponsored by Goreware. Goreware are moving on and shutting down their business, so it's the last podcast of the year sponsored by them. But we're still sponsored by Tantrums. We're sponsored by X Miles. Links in the description or in bio if you want a discount there. And we've got new sponsors coming in next year, so don't feel bad for us. We're all good. We're all good. Announcements, got us some announcements to make. Yeah, last week we put out the podcast with Harry Jones. Great podcast. Really enjoyed that conversation with Harry, chatting about his kind of YouTube way ahead of its time, and kind of like a running influencer. Like he influenced us as runners with his content, just in like his training and racing and things, getting an eye into what it was like in Asia like 10 years ago in the short distance races that he was doing. So that was a fun podcast, and it was great to have you on that one.
Yeah, I love that podcast. Yeah, and like you said, Harry was like almost like a gateway for me into trail running, watching his videos, you know what I mean, and other runners that he was in the videos with, like Pau Capel, and he was doing stuff with unbelievable YouTube creator is Dan Whitehead. He had Scotty Hawker there. It was brilliant to follow along and follow his journey as sort of that, like, honest, hard working, you know, UK based athlete, like looking to do big things. Yeah, big fan of Harry and a really nice guy.
Pat in the chat followed Harry back when I started following you, and Pat's been actually a long time supporter on YouTube, and I feel like I've known Pat for a long time actually, and obviously my crew chief for the Bog Graham round. So hope to see and catch up with Pat at some point in 2026. What else have we got? Okay, on the agenda today, got to talk about our training. Ricky, the year is nearly over, and I think it's about time we unveil some stats of the year. We can dig into
Yeah.
that a little bit because it does tell a story, and we're not trying to trigger you talking about time, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna talk about some funny shit that we've seen on the internet, some stuff about World Trail Majors, some stuff about UTMB, and also some stuff about Trail Talk over the past year as well. So we'll dig into that. But as we always do in the show, let's kick off with our training update. Like, how have things been with you over the past week? Let's talk about, volume, priorities, things like that.
Yeah, so like at the minute right now it's kind of like I'm still in that base building phase. It's been my third week of sort of 100-kilometer weeks. So like I'm very, very kind of happy with that consistency. You know what I'm saying? I said a few weeks ago I want to run every day up until Christmas. I have currently ran every day up until Christmas. The only day I haven't ran is today because I was tight for time getting back from work and getting on the show. So I'm either going to run after the show or I'm going to make up the difference during the week. But to be honest with you, this week will be my like, so I'm 3 weeks into that kind of base building phase, 100-kilometer weeks. And this week I will be jumping up. So I'll be like increasing that volume maybe to like 130 kilometers. So I'll be going from that. At the minute, it's around 8 hours a week to maybe something like 11 hours a week, maybe 12 hours a week. And again, I'll be keeping my structure pretty much the same, where I'll be doing a Wednesday session and then a weekend session. They've been going really well for me at the minute. I would say I had a really nice session last Wednesday, sort of a speed session, but then I had my long run yesterday on a tired legs, on a tired body, like from work, this, that, and the other. But I was down there, and Barrack is actually watching. I think he's tuned into the live at the minute. But me and Barrack were down in a place called Union Wood yesterday. We ran 25 or 26 kilometers, steady effort with some work towards the end
Did
because
you destroy him?
no, 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 no.
Are you
We
being
were.
nice on live? Is that because I know what you're like? You're like, ah, the girl really ditched that guy. I know what you're like, mate.
Nah, we'd say what we were doing was we were running really strong for let's say uh 17 or 18K, and then it was like I could notice that Barrack was running really well on the downs and running really well on the flats,
He
and
just said
he
you
did.
did. You did. Took
I
him to
did
school.
not. I did not. I
I
did
know how
not.
this is. I know how this story goes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we run real good 17, like yeah, and then I fucking ditched him.
But it was super fun, man. It was super fun. It was like we were both pushing the pace. And then it was like I wanted, like honestly, like I'm gonna give Barrack big thumbs up because like me and Barrack, the first run that we did together was in Union Wood this time last year. And like I mean the improvement in
I
him,
remember that.
yeah, like his improvement's been huge, you know what I mean? Like he's really come on. And like I could see he was really strong on the flats and really strong on the downs. All right, he's a little bit of work to do, let's say, on the climbs, and that's where I was kind of always sort of gauging that, okay, I have you on the climbs here, son. You know what I mean? I'm still number one, all right? I'm still number one. But I mean, it was super fun. That last 7K was very much like a race, and it was good for me to kind of have a little session like that where I was feeling like I was getting pushed, where I was feeling like I was being chased by somebody. And then it was like, okay, tactics were coming into it. It was like, all right, I need to just sort of push the pace a little bit so that I know that Barrack's going to have to push the pace to close the gap. But I also know there's a hill coming up, so I'm going to make sure that when he closes the gap, he's going to be cooked for that hill, like. But I need to be steady and I need to be
He
strong, you
wasn't
know.
he wasn't thinking any of this. He was just thinking, keep going, keep breathing, keep the cadence.
Mm,
He
yeah.
was thinking about the effort. You're thinking, oh, I'm beating this guy now. I'm
Mm.
about to put him in a hole.
Yeah, but what I'm also trying to do is like, and Barrett could be the first person. He'd be the first person to admit this. Like when we finish this, or we're in the middle of something that we stop or whatever, I'm trying to explain to him why I was doing a certain thing and what my thought process was in that. Like, and my thought process throughout that 7K, it was a hard 7K, right? We were like, pushing the pace. Like it was on trail, and we were like down around that sort of like 4:30 per kilometer. We were moving really well. It was like race pace trail running. But like I'm trying to explain to him that I'm pushing the pace when I can hear him behind me, I'm pushing the pace only slightly so that he can close that gap, because then I lure him into that sort of like, oh wait, I can catch him now. I can catch him now. But like what I'm trying to explain to him is, yeah, but Barrack, I'm also leaving enough in the tank for that next hill so that I don't change pace, that my pace doesn't slow down just because there's a hill coming up. I've gauged that enough that my average pace still stays strong, like so that's then how I put like 30 seconds into him, a minute into him, 2 minutes into him, and then it ended up in something like 3 minutes, right? But I mean, I was super proud of how Barrett did on that run, like because I mean that we averaged out at like five. I averaged out at 5:01 per kilometer for that loop, right? That is very very good running because I know that place like the back of my hand, right? And if I'm in that kind of shape, I'm really happy. But Barrett like was coming in at like 5:07, I think, per kilometer or something like that. And I was like, man, you're in great shape. You are in super shape. You know what I mean? So like, it was super cool to see that. It's a year of kind of training together and then having that little bit of a race at the end. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like it was fun. And that's
How
why we love
many?
trail running.
But how many solar panels had he fitted that week? How many
Well, actually,
stairs had he put up?
yeah,
I
true,
need to
true.
know in
Yeah.
the chat. Come on, Bark, let us know how
Barrack
hard did
is
you
a
work
block
that week
player.
before it?
Barrack was a block player, so he knows what hard work is, and Barrack's the same age as me, so he's from that generation that knows how to work hard. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, right? It's like we've got that work ethic. He doesn't do the block lane as much anymore. He sits in a van a lot and drives around and tells people what to do now.
All right.
And maybe that's why he's he's just not as tough as me.
All right, you won that race then. Good on you. Well done.
Yeah.
Another victory for Ricky Winnigan.
Yeah. But we say for me, I'm just going to start to build now. We're finishing up work tomorrow, so then it's Christmas. Christmas for me means more miles. You know what I mean? That might sound sad to some people. That man, most people are like hibernating and doing nothing. I'm looking at like time off. I'm going training. I'm going training. I'm getting some big miles in, and I'm not sleeping when everyone else is sleeping. So that when January comes round and I got a race at the end of January or early February, I'm ready to go. So that's how I like to approach Christmas.
Speaking of races, we haven't had a chance to talk because you've been flat out on the building site and then running, but we'll get a conversation after the live is
Mm.
over. Or maybe we'll have to do it tomorrow because you have to get out for your run. I do want you to get out today. I don't want Ricky to miss one of his December runs because of this. Get out and do half an hour.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
have
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
eat your own cooking, so are you committing on the live that you're going to do the run? It doesn't have to be long, it just has to be
Yeah,
something.
true. Yeah, exactly, exactly. And like that's it. Like I just need to go for running. But look, I'm not going to go for it's going to be an hour or nothing. Like I'm never lacing up my shoes to run for less than an hour. Like we're ultra runners. Come on, we can't do that. We can't go for 5K. No way.
Even in December on the 23rd.
No, no, it doesn't matter. What does that mean? What does that mean? Just because I have a green hat, I mean, doesn't mean that, mate. What about you? What about your training? How's it been going for you this last, let's say, even like we'll say this last 2 or 3 weeks, you know?
Volume wise, I've just been keeping it about the same, in and around like 4 days of running, 3 days of biking, give or take a day. So, but on the bike, I've been doing the short power intervals on the bike. So, no more than like 3 or 4 minutes. And then one of the runs I've been doing like speed work, been doing some strides. There's tantrums in the chat. Happy holidays. Yep. Good to see you, Adam. And yeah, I actually missed a day of training this week since the last show. I wouldn't, we had two Christmas parties and man, cocktails and running don't mix. And here, you can't beat yourself up if that happens in December. Like I didn't have a commitment to run or train every day. I don't plan rest days. Like I just take a rest day if I needed it. And I really did need a rest day on Wednesday
Yeah.
because I was just, no, what was it? It was Thursday. I took Thursday off because I was just hungover. I just felt destroyed. Uh, because after the show last week, I went out and I did 21 and I did my lunges, did my strides and everything at the end of it. And I was like, I made a note afterwards for the show. It was like, the legs feel good because up until that point, running more than 90 minutes, I'd started to feel like, I'm starting to labor this. Like, this is it. This is where the body's at. Whereas I finished that run going, nope, there was tension the whole way. The legs had spring. I wasn't trying to muscle my way through it. So I was like, okay, that's a good sign. And then the next day we were having we were entertaining. We had like 13, 14 people here for a barbecue, and there was a liter of cocktails for everybody made by a bartender, right?
Yeah.
So I was hydrating with margarita. But prior to that, I thought, right, I'm gonna jump on the bike and do the power intervals. So sitting on the bike beside me, blasting out the techno and doing what I do. I did 6x3 uphill and I smashed it. Like, it did well. I didn't have that quit in
Mm.
me. What's a liter? Fuck off, Adam. um,
He only talks in gallons. He only talks in gallons.
he only talks in Americano.
Yeah.
So yeah, ripped that. But then it meant that the hangover was even worse the next day because it went really hard on the bike, and then it got kind of dehydrated and
Yeah,
was
because you hydrated on margaritas. Yeah, yeah, exactly,
yeah, and
exactly. Yeah.
standing up all day at the barbecue in the heat. So yeah, that wasn't so good. But like, we bounced back. I had a couple more good runs that week, although I had a really difficult run on Sunday. I met Kieran, Trail Talk community member, lives quite close to me. We met up for like a couple of hour run. It was meant to be like 27. It ended up being like 32 to 34. And when you're running, like we were just talking about you running with Barrack, and it's a different style of run when you're running with somebody. So I
Yeah.
turned off my heart rate alarm because it's not the focus. The focus wasn't to go out there and just, you know, do some Ks and get some time on feet. It was just to go out and do whatever it was and, have a nice steady run and enjoyable.
Yeah, have fun. Yeah, exactly.
We were doing 2 loops of this trail, absolutely cooked, absolutely destroyed. We had to sit down at the end of the first lap. I was like, I would never even look at my heart rate, but I said to Kieran, what's your heart rate? Because I'm fucked. My heart rate was at 172.
Just because of the heat. I'm guessing the heat, like, yeah.
The heat plus the steady effort, but like the heat in my experience will stick 10 beats on easy. So
Yeah.
if you think like your steady effort is going to be somewhere in the 50s, it didn't take an awful lot to put it up to the 70s, and he was the same. He was like, oh yeah, mine's 170 or whatever as well. So we hydrated, took a gel and did the second loop, and luckily a bit of cloud cover came in, but it was still roasting hot.
Yeah.
But ended up on like, probably, let's say it was 90 minutes. 50 minutes was tempo, as in heart rate, and I think max rate heart rate was 176. Average heart rate was 155. And you know yourself, like, your max or your average heart rate, even on a steady run, is still low because it's the highs and the lows. It's the average.
Yeah.
My average heart rate was still high because we were just absolutely cooked, destroyed
Yeah.
afterwards. But
You were going from high to higher is all you were doing, like, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it wasn't easy, but look, it is what it is. You just take that and go, that was essentially a tempo effort. So take it what it was. I ended up doing more workout last week than was originally planned. So money in the bank.
Yeah. That's good,
Uh,
man. Look, sure, it's great training, man. It's great training. It's like you're if you're doing that in the heat, I mean you're winning. Like, I know it's hard and it sucks at times and all that, but I mean it's a great stimulus. It's a great training. I'd be crying out for that. I'd be crying out for that because I'm running even a tempo effort and I'm covering my hands up because my hands are getting cold because I'm running slightly quicker, like, so. Well, I'm a cold person anyway, but also, like, isn't it funny? It's like what you were talking about. You're chatting and you're saying you had your margaritas and you had your thing, and that's exactly what this time of year is about too, right? It's like it's not all about smash, 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 smash the train, and you have to live a little and you have to, let the hair down and have the crack and enjoy things. I'm telling you, man, I have such a hard, like, personally, I have such a hard time doing that. You know, and I was only saying this to Trina yesterday. It's like, I would love, like, she went out last weekend. I dropped her at her friend's. I dropped her into another town over, and she went in the beer, right? She went for a few drinks. And when I drove back to my town, I says, "Do you know what? I might go for a pint in my own town, and I'll go for 1 or 2 pints, and and that'll do, and I'll head home, and I'll get up and I'll go for a run." But the internal arsehole in me just kind of goes, "No, no, you've a run tomorrow. You're not going for a pint. You're not going for," and I end up not going for a pint. And I do be kicking myself sometimes. Like, yeah, okay, a little part of me is like, "Yeah, I'm proud of you, Rick. You didn't go." But the other part of me that likes to think that, you know what, you should have probably went for a pint, and you should have let your hair down. You should have this. I have a real problem doing that. You know.
Well, don't they say, like, scientifically proven, so it's fact, it's coming from the internet, that you only have so much willpower to spend. So if you're continually, like, giving yourself those choices and having to make the choice, no, I'm not going to, no, I'm not going to, that you do break at some point. So I think
Mm.
it's actually better to strategically now and again actually
Break.
do it. Actually, I
Yeah.
want to do it now, but yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from, and everyone in the chat or everyone that's listening to the podcast can identify with that too, because it's human nature. Like, whenever if I like taking that day off during the week, I'd like easily say to Sarah that that's me hating myself for the rest of the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Which
you
is
spend
wrong. Which
you
is wrong.
spend
Like, yeah.
up until the point of deciding I can't do the run, going, I need to do the run, sort yourself out, you need to get out and do the run. So you're hating yourself for not getting out, and then you're hating yourself for the decision that you didn't do it. So it
Yeah.
just
But
turns into a terrible day.
yeah. But you also know that you need a rest day. You know that you need that rest day. But that little voice in your head is saying, "No, you're weak. You don't need that rest day. You're weak." And yeah, it is so true. Like, and I'm glad we're talking about this, because there'll be loads of people that have this internal battle, and they're saying, "Oh, I don't know how you do it every day. How do you get out there every day?" You have that internal dialogue all the time, and it's always just 90% of the time, or 99% of the time, you win the argument, and you go for the run. But every now and again you don't go for the run, but that's okay too. Like, as long as you don't make a huge habit out of it and miss a load of runs, if you just miss the odd one, that's a recovery, that's a rest, and you need rest, so it's fine.
Yeah, like if I like the Strava calendar view where you can see, the little circles, and I have to scroll back weeks before I'd see the last time I had days off, and it was after Kosciuszko. Like, I would, as you know, like, if I'm feeling the body is too tired to run or whatever, I do the bike. But to do
Yeah.
nothing, that's whenever the self-loathing starts.
Mm.
It's just part of it. Everyone can identify with that. It's about what's a consistent choice that you're making. And
Yeah.
nobody here, people in the chat, people listening to the podcast, we're into the sport, like, we love the sport. 9 times out of 10, we're getting out and doing it. And
Yeah.
that's what matters.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and we're getting lots of people agreeing with us in the chat as well. But yeah, look, it's about setting up the consistent good practice. It's not healthy to hate yourself, but I just know that I hate myself if I don't have some sort of cardio exercise. I don't know, like, even if I did some strength or whatever, I would feel like you're taking the easy way out.
Yeah, yeah, like, I have a big thing with, like, sort of like, I don't know, like, obviously, like, maybe some some deeper issues, right? With, like, I don't know, with food relationships and this, that, and the other, and I always have this saying, and it's a terrible saying: if you're not earning, if you're not if you're not burning, you're not earning. You know what I mean? And I say that, like, it's such an unhealthy way of, like, looking at it. Like, there needs to be a different way of looking at it. But at the same time, that's what usually gets me out the door. Saying something like that to myself gets me out the door, and if it gets me out the door, then it's working for me. It's just I always been thinking, man, you're so mean to yourself. But I mean, sometimes you have to be.
Pat in the chat says he could give us a lecture on self-hate.
Yeah,
Pat,
I see
we
that.
don't need to hear that TED talk. You're okay. Bank it for another day. Look, I think what we'll do is I think it's perfect to roll into Strava stats. But before
Mm,
we do that, like my focus in training over the next week, it's Christmas. You have to give yourself some flexibility, but that part of the day is training and getting out there enjoying it. Like we're just doing what we love. It's not like going out for a run is going out to, we're not going out to graft. We don't have to do it. We're doing it because we love to do it. So
yeah. And you have
I'm just,
time, we have more time as well because we're technically off and things are quieter and you just have more time to do everything now. So it's like you're on holidays, so you can afford to train, you can afford to hang out with your loved one, you can afford to do this, that, and the other, and still train and enjoy your runs and just put in some work. But and like you said, a lot of the time around Christmas, they're really enjoyable runs. They're probably yeah, for me, it's like I'm always actually, oh, I haven't been up there for a long, long time. I might do that run again, or I haven't been at that one because now you have a little window and you'll say, oh, I'll hit trails that I haven't been on. So I love it this time of year.
yeah, the only change for me this week is Sarah and I'll do a park run on Christmas Day. And the park run here in the park close to me, I haven't done it before, but the route looks terrible. Like there's two U-turn bends around a cone, and I think it's a couple of laps. It's on dirt and on grass. It's on grass, part of a pitch, and it's on gravel. So I'm probably gonna have to wear trail shoes, but look, I'll just be running it for fun. So I'll
And it'll be about 40 degrees as well. About
no,
40.
it's at 7 in the morning, so it'll probably
Yeah.
be about I don't know 26.
Yeah. Okay.
Beautiful. All right, Ricky, let's move into the Strava stats. I hope you've got a note of them. Like I was holding off. There was chat in the Trail Talk WhatsApp about people were posting in their Strava end of year wrap. Whenever they posted it, Strava posted about it on like the 8th of December. I'm like,
Get
do this
out of
one.
it.
Do one, Strava.
Exactly.
There's weeks to go. And we're only actually talking about it now on the 23rd, 22nd for you, because I don't know if we're going to do a show next Monday. We might take that might be the Trill Talk Christmas holidays, but we do
Yeah.
have our Christmas podcast coming out on this Thursday, so we are not just totally done, but we'll maybe give ourselves a day off.
Yeah, like this week for me is going to be a big week. So like this week and next week's going to be a big week because I'm off. So like these are two prime weeks for more volume. So Strava, piss off. Do your end of year at the end of year.
Yeah, I know because there's like we would be grateful of that type of stuff in January to reflect back, right? Or even
Yeah.
post it in the last week of the month. I don't know. It's annoying to me, but like I'll kick things off and then let me hear from you. It was a bit of a different year for me, obviously with the couple of injuries, the ankle and the rib. And then last year, obviously, I had like the foot surgery, so I missed a few months in that. But for me, I have run. Hold on, I've got a note of this. So you're gonna love this. 560 hours of running and bike. We're not talking about anything that's not running or bike. So, all right.
Yeah.
And that was 308 activities for the year, which it actually averages out at six a week. Um, and if you consider like I probably had 2 months off with some biking and interspersed in that as well. But it was 3,400 and whatever kilometers of running and 3,400 plus kilometers of biking. Or sorry, 3,500 kilometers of biking. My main takeaway from it was I'm 25,000 meters down on running vert. So I've
Mm.
just hit 100,000 meters of vertical for the year. Last year I had 125,000, but that was even a drop last year.
You've a hundred. You've 100. 100,000 meters of vert this year.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
running.
Wow.
I have
Yeah.
125,000 on the, or 143,000 on the bike.
Jesus. Yeah. That's mad. That's mad. Like, it's mad what you can do on the bike, isn't it? It's mad.
But you've more than that done.
Yeah, I do. But I mean, like, I'm just looking at, we'll say you have 100,000 meters of vert done in running.
Yeah,
And like your running is, how many, what did you say you've ran? 3,000, it's
400.
3,400. You know, that's some serious vert in not such high mileage, right? Like that's impressive vert, like, yeah. I actually was looking at yours yesterday because you put a lot of stuff into Strava Dark, I'm guessing. So you had a lot of your bike. I couldn't see your bike. I was looking at your bike yesterday and I was thinking, it was only showing up that you had like, I don't know, fucking 20 kilometers cycled or something like that. I was thinking, I don't know what that's about because I know you have thousands of kilometers cycled, you know?
I don't put like I don't put any of that. If it's not a run, it doesn't go on
Yeah.
Strava. And the only bike stuff that is public on Strava is if I want to then share it to Instagram, because maybe it's been a workout we've been talking about, a workout on the show or something, and then I'll just make it public and there, so people can go and look at it. So none of it's public. Like my biking is 3,556,000, which is 95 activities, and it is like it's it's like 200 hours or something. So plenty, plenty.
Plenty, yeah, plenty. I haven't cycled a mile, not a mile this year. The bike
I
has
did
not come out of the house this year.
I did notice that. Let's hear your running stats.
Yeah, so look, because I can't see, right, and I don't have it wrote down. I know
Well,
what
I've got it
most of them
wrote
are.
down.
Yeah, so my activities, I actually don't know how many activities I have, but we'd say
316.
so 316 activities. Thank you, Aaron. And then I think
Ricky, I
I've,
can't talk for you, but I've got the information you need to talk about.
I
How's that
think
gonna work?
I'm coming in with 5,146 kilometers for the year, something like that. Yeah, is that right? Yeah.
Yep, that's
So
right.
yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that. That's pretty consistent distance. And then I think I'm at 131,000 meters of vert as well, like 132,000 meters of vert. So yeah, really happy with that. Like, so I'm up on last year's vert and I'm around the same in distance as well, you know. And like I'd love to like get closer. Like I'd always be like, I'd love to get closer to that sort of, 6,000 meters or 6,000 kilometers. But I mean, all in all, I'm pretty happy with that year. You know, there's been a lot of racing this year, and I haven't had too many injuries this year where I've had to like lose a load of consistency, but I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, trying to think, is there anything else I was going to mention on that
Well,
as well?
we
Yeah,
should
like
we should mention your time. That's 100 or 483 hours of
yeah,
running.
yeah, of running, like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time, but it's an impressive amount of Ks for that. Like if you look, you're 5,146 uh, kilometers, right? I'm 3,432 kilometers. You're 483 hours. I'm 415 hours for running.
Yeah, yeah. I like that. I like
So
that.
fuck you, Ricky.
Yeah, but you see, you could come at me with like I was thinking, like sometimes people come at you about, I did this many hours, and I'm like, yeah, but hold on a second, like I'm faster. I'm faster. So the runs I'm doing are the runs I do are as long as what you're doing, but I'm running them quicker. Like, so my hours are
You're a
never
dickhead.
really going to be the same. But that's the same. But it's the very same that if I was to look at Harry Jones's Strava for the year, Harry's probably closer, if not above 6,000, and I guarantee you Harry's has been pretty quick as well. So he's got through that like 6,000, maybe in the same time that I got through 5,146, and like I'm always like, well, that's where I need to be. I need to be chasing those lads. So I need to be getting more vert, getting this, that, and the other, So I'm always chasing that carrot as well. Like
Do you think so? Like he's not on the
how
roof. He's not doing all of that full body strength of 40,
yeah,
50 hours a week or whatever the hell it is. Like
yeah,
more.
that's true. But I'd still never I'd never use that. Like that for me that's not
I'm not
I
I'm not
understand.
saying using it as an excuse, but I'm saying like it is relevant because that
Mm.
is training. Like strength is what makes you durable in the 100-mile distance. Like you
Yeah,
don't
but
need to be strong to do a 50K. You need to be strong to do a 100-miler.
yeah, but it still keeps me like, look, it still makes me want to try and always do more. That's what it is. Like of course, I understand that they're not doing what I do like manually, or like they don't have an intense like laborious job that I have. But at the same time, that's what I do. It's my choice to do that at the same time. I could quit my job tomorrow and try run more, but I'd have to pick up another way of making some money. And I like that. I like my job, you know what I mean? And I like swinging the hammer. So, so I can't always use that as an excuse either. Plus, I also think that it stands to me. If I rock up to a race here in Ireland and I'm at the start line, I'd be looking around and I'd be checking who's around me and saying, who here is doing what I do? Who here is doing what I do on a daily basis before you put on your shoes, before you put on your running shoes? Because if you want to beat me, you're going to have to work very, very hard to beat me. That's because of my work ethic. You know what I mean?
Love it. Love it. That's why we love Ricky Wynn.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're done on that, but I would love to know like what's the ambition for next year? Like, are we looking to UTMB is potentially going to be the goal? Are we looking at more vert, more distance, more time?
Yeah, like definitely more like let's say we get into UTMB, and UTMB then is goal race. That's it. That's the A race, and then the B race is Canyons 100. You know what I mean? So like they're two
Swiss
very
Canyon Trail.
or Swiss Canyons Trail. Sorry, I'm terrible with names. I could be on the top of a mountain and I won't know the name of it, and I could be on that mountain every day of the week. That's just me. That's just me.
I'll
But
keep you right.
yeah, I need somebody to keep me right. But for me, it'll be like a lot of vert, you know what I mean? And that's where I'll be spending a lot of my training. I need to get to the mountains more. I want to get more vert in. Hopefully, I'm able to get out to Chamonix as much as I can, get over to Switzerland, get wherever there's big mountains. Because when you're in the mountains, that's when you can get big, big vert. Like, there was a couple of weeks there where I got close to 10,000 meters of climbing in Chamonix, like, so in a week, like, so. That's how you get 131,000 or 132,000 meters of climbing. You won't get it here sitting in Drumshanbo looking up at mountains in Leitrim. You know what I mean? I need to try and get to the mountains as much as I can next year.
Well, up until quite recently, my biggest vert week was from the Mourne Mountains, probably about 4 years ago, and I did 11,500 meters in a week. And I
Wow.
only went to the Mournes something like 4 or 5 days out of the 7 day period. But it was like literally, I think the Saturday, the long run day, I got something like 4,000 meters.
But you were probably out for hours. I'm talking like 7, 8 hours, 9 hours, because that's the Mourns. The Mourns just eat away at time. Time doesn't exist in the Mourns, and that's like, because I see Leo Boyle as well. Leo Boyle gets unbelievable vert in the Mourns. Like he gets some crazy, crazy weeks. Like, he'd just be up around 7,000 meters some weeks when he's training for certain races. Like, so the Mourns are the Irish Alps for anyone that's wondering. Like, they are incredible. Um, Unbelievable place to train. Like, but I'm telling you, you are working for every single meter that you earn.
You can get 4,000 on Sleeve Donner, the highest peak, but it is a case of doing like I would have done reps. So you come up basically. sometimes you gamify training to make it more interesting. So I would have done Donard from each compass point, like north, south,
Yeah,
east, and west. So you're
that's
going
cool. Yeah,
coming up from the north, down to the east, up from the east, down, and then up, and then down the other direction. And like you end up, it makes it interesting. But you're right, like to do 4,000 meters, I think it was probably like an 8 hour day, 8 hour day. But
yeah.
8 hours, 4,000 meters, I mean that's good money.
Oh, it's savage, savage. Yeah,
I can't wait. In just over a month, 25th of January, I'll be back in Ireland and I'll be up in the mornings smelling that sweet air of home. It'll just feel so comforting, so fresh, and it'll also be Baltic, so I'll get a
yeah. Oh,
chance to wear my winter clothes.
I hope it's lashing rain. I hope it's lashing rain on
Bring
top
it
of
on.
it.
It'll be beautiful Irish rain. Like it'll just the rain here would near cut your head off. It's that heavy. The Irish rain will be welcome. Right, moving on. Before we get there, Swiss Canyon Trail Talk meetup last weekend in May. There's a ton of people going. The Strava event now has at least 20 people attending, and I asked everyone, like, if you're in the Strava event, make sure you are actually attending. So the number is accurate. Uh, Races from 16 through to 111 kilometers. And we do have people in all the distances, which is pretty cool. What were you going to say?
I it's a big movement, isn't it? Isn't it? Like it's like the first time we've like said like let's do a race and let's see how many we can get from the trail talk community. And there's like 20 people in already. Like I am like so excited for that race. That's going to be just deadly. You know what I mean? That's like going to like you go to Chamonix and then you might bump into a few people that you know. You know what I mean? This would be like everyone in the trail talk group is going to be in Switzerland.
Yeah, because like people are doing different distances, so there's going to be the opportunity to like cheer for people in the different races, as well as like the meetup before the race, as well as the after party after the race. So it's
Yeah.
going to be, I mean, it's going to be super, super good fun. Um, We have a discount code for entries. If you want it, you need to go into the WhatsApp group and request it because we're not just dishing it out publicly. It was limited to 20 people, but we had like 15 entries before the discount code was published.
Yeah.
Um, and we are actually going to like dig into training for that race from January. We'll preview parts of the course and basically let people know what to expect from the 16 right through to the 111. I'm probably going to do the 50K because I'm 2 weeks after Ultra Trail Australia 100K. Uh, but part of me wants to do the 80,
Yeah. Yeah, I know
so
what you mean. Yeah, you're just still on the fence. I know, I know, I know.
and
Makes sense though. Makes sense.
luckily we don't have to commit on distance yet. I mean, you're committed on what distance you have, but you don't actually have your entry.
No.
We the race organizers are giving us two entries, which is great. So looking forward to that. We're going to dig into the training from next month, and it'll be a fun build up.
Yeah. Yeah. Super excited for that. Class.
Swift Canyon Trail is no longer part of the World Trail Majors. This is one of the big bits of news that's come out this month, and the Grand Raid de Pyrenees has also left the World Trail Majors series. And while like I understand why the organizers have done it, basically they've said that the WTM haven't got their policies well enough in order for them to commit to stuff because it's not transparent enough. And they're like, look, we are a well-established independent race and we define our own policies and we can't operate under something which is unknown. So we
Yeah.
think it's better for the race for us to manage our own destiny and use the money that they would commit to World Trail Majors to increase the prize purse. So, like, I think for the 111K, the winner gets €5,000, and the prize purse goes the whole way down through the distances. So, looking forward to just seeing how that goes for them. Is the Swiss Canyon Trail Strava group full? question in the chat. No, it's not. And link in bio if you want to jump into the Strava club, the Trail Talk Strava club, and then you'll see the event in there as well. So you certainly don't have to be in the WhatsApp to find out about that. You can, like, if you're not in the WhatsApp or you don't use WhatsApp, we'll not hold it against you. Ricky, what do you think of World Trail Majors announcement?
Yeah, but I mean, so that's two now. That's two that are gone from the World Trail Majors, and like the World Trail Majors is it's just about up and running, like, and they've already lost two, so it doesn't really bode well for World Trail Majors, does it? Like, if they're to be taken serious, they were making big moves to be as big, if not bigger and better than UTMB, and already they're kind of making a bit of a shit show of it, and other races and race directors are pulling out already at an early stage because they've realized this isn't what we signed up for. You know, we were expecting more, we were expecting better, and it hasn't happened. So it definitely leaves question marks in the air over World Trail Majors and where it goes from here.
Yeah, so they lost two going into next season, but they've added two, so they've remained the same number of races. So they've added in Vietnam Mountain Marathon and Grampian Peaks Trail, the GPT 100. So two great additions, but I think one of the main issue I have with WTM is that they no longer have a race in Europe. Yes, okay,
Mm,
they've got South Downs Way 100 in the UK, so maybe let's say there's no race in the EU, whatever way you want to slice that. And UTMB is a French company. Trail running at its heart comes from Europe. Like they need something in France, something in Italy, something in Switzerland. They need something in the Alps. Like the Alps
yeah.
is the home of European trail running, and they need something there. So it begs the question, like, what are they? How are they going to fill that?
Yeah, but also it's like everything. It's like a circuit, right? It's like the Formula One circuit. It's like whatever kind of circuit. It's like these are your races. They're in place, and everybody gets excited about that one, that one, that one. And you say, "Oh, I'd like to do that one again," you know. But like they're losing. They've already lost two, so that's already gone. And then who's to say that they don't lose these two next year? You know, it just whatever they're doing, it's like they're lacking conviction on something. It's like you need to really hone in on that and make it a proper circuit and hold on to these races and do whatever you have to make the race directors happy so that you build something. You can't build something if you keep chopping and changing and saying, "Oh, we're excited to bring you this new race because this other race is gone now." You know, like it doesn't work well like that.
Yeah, I think they've already come out and said, look, we're not looking to expand the calendar and just add in more races. So I can totally understand that, and they're not really trying to compete against the UTMB World Series. They're trying to offer an alternative. You know, these
Yeah.
are at the core, it's independent races who are part of a larger series, but there's just, I think there needs to be some maybe tighter management, some policies that apply to everywhere, like prize money, drug testing, you know, maybe they do okay at the marketing side, and but they rely heavily on the race organizers already having great presence. You know, like if you think, look at all the content the Grampian Peaks Trail, the GPT 100 put out, and then the World Trail Majors benefits from that because they're part of the series.
Yeah.
But all the WTM are doing is resharing stuff and putting out a newsletter, and sometimes the newsletter's coming out well after the event. You know,
Yeah.
that's no good for press. Like as soon as UTMB World Series event ends on Monday, I get the press release about what happened that weekend, and it could be two or three by UTMB races. So
Yeah.
the marketing effort uh, could be faster. I think it's probably down to resources. Like the World Trail Majors is essentially run by the owners of the Hong Kong 100.
Yeah.
So
Like,
they're limited in probably capacity.
yeah. Because like if you are so like GPT, and you're putting out all that content, and it's only your content going out, and there's nothing coming in from World Trail Majors, only them sharing what you're putting up. You're kind of like, what are you doing for us? Like, what are you doing for us? We're doing all the work, you know? And I get it, you're saying it's small and it's more like in-house, and it's, you know, and things take time, but like sometimes other races need to see it done faster, more done better, more efficient, this, that, and the other.
Yeah, last thing on the World Trail Majors, they're making one change to the scoring. So it's two best results count for the series. And if there was a tie, this year it went to whoever had the higher ITRA score. From
Mm,
next year, if it's still two races, which personally I would rather it was three. There's sort
yeah,
of leaning into that. We don't want people to have to travel too much to compete. But I think two races to win a championship is too little. I think three would would be better.
yeah,
But they're making it that it's be an average of ITRA scores. I'm not quite sure of how it'll work in reality. Either
yeah. But
way, if they just changed it from two to three, there'd be less chance of a draw.
exactly that's exactly what I was going to say. If there was more than two, if there's only two, there's a high possibility there's going to be a draw. If there's three, there's a higher chance there'll be one winner. Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll move on from that. And I think it's a perfect time to also mention the UTMB put out a wrap of their year. We did hear we did hear the number: 147,000 runners across
Whoa.
55 events.
Yeah.
That's massive.
Mm. Yeah, and
155,000 runners or 47,000 runners just at by UTMB events.
yeah, it's insane. Insane numbers, especially after, like, we'd say, the bit of a hiccup that was at the start of the year, and people, thinking they'd be boycotting this race and that race, and it didn't hurt their numbers one bit. Like, it was probably as big a year as it ever was, because again, they have more races in more countries now as well, and they've got some great races like added to the calendar.
Yeah, bigger and better, and they've certainly. I think UTMB have had a good year. They
Mm.
haven't had any major kind of faux pas with the news. If you think like that was October of last year, was
Yeah,
whenever the whole Whistler thing was blowing up, and that spawned the WTM announcement. And there hasn't really, I mean, maybe there's been a couple of things, but nothing like the people have generally thought they've done a good job,
yeah, no alarm bells ringing, no alarm bells ringing. Yeah.
and they've
Like,
continued
look,
to announce lots of races. Just recently, a couple of new races, even in China, that look interesting. So they're continuing to grow.
yeah, I feel for the draw for UTMB for the World Series final is still as big as it ever was. It never dropped off. If anything, that's now, even you have all the newbies, all the brand new trail runners, they are dreaming of getting to Chamonix, getting to the world, the World Series finals, the OCC, the CCC, the UTMB. They're dreaming of that already, and they're only in the sport a wet week.
A wet week. Yeah. I like we've had this conversation. We've talked about it in the Trail Talk WhatsApp community as well. That I think it's kind of sad that people do plan their calendars around just collecting stones. And it certainly it's a different world than what I came up through, where, yes, the year was kind of planned around getting enough points to get to UTMB, but they weren't by UTMB races to get there. And like, I'm totally down with the UTMB system or whatever, but as someone saying in the chat there, stoneflation big time this year. Yeah, like they've now added in this other UTMB points thing. If you look at your dashboard, you've got your stones and you've got your points as well. Like the pyramid scheme, as some people like to call it, only works if they continue to add. races as well and change the number of like it's going to get harder and harder and harder. I think initially you could have got into UTMB or you had a good chance of getting in with a handful of stones. Now you
Yeah.
need, you probably need two or three times what you needed 2 years ago. So that would actually mean you need to do more UTMB races to get to the finale. But there's only so many you can do.
Yeah, and having a lot of stones still doesn't guarantee you in either. Like, just because, like, let's say me in particular, we'd say I've got 14 stones. So
I
I
was going to
I've been
ask.
chasing stones like all year, like, because. And maybe my view on this will change once I get into UTMB because at the minute I'm just itching to get into UTMB. So that's all I'm chasing. That's all I care about right now, is getting to UTMB because I just think this is my time to do UTMB. So everything else really doesn't interest me until I've done that race. And once I do that race, then my whole perspective might change on all of UTMB. But until that, I'm all in and I'm happy to go get stones and I'm happy to see this new thing, whatever it is. I don't really understand it, but it's like you have, let's say, beginner, then it's trailblazer, and then it's summiter. So depending on how many races you've done, and maybe your ITRA score might have something to do with it, but then depending on how
UTMB score,
many
not ITRA.
or sorry, UTMB score, and then maybe depending on how many stones you've got, you go up that ladder, like, and then all I saw on that was if you are a summiter and you've over 200 points, then you have a slightly better chance of getting in the lottery. So for me, again, because I'm greedy and selfish and I want to do the UTMB, I'm all
Winning.
for that. Yeah, I'm all for that, because that's the way I look at it. I've done X amount of races, I've done this, I've done that. I want to go to UTMB, and I think I deserve to go to UTMB. That's how my brain is working like.
What I would love to know is what you think you would target after UTMB because you're a professional trail runner. So
Mm.
most pro runners just want to compete against the best year on year, and that's how it goes for them. Whereas the normal, like most of the audience might be just trying to tick that box of getting to experience UTMB. So yeah, maybe they want to go CCC, they tick that box, and maybe they're like, okay, I want to do OCC, CCC, TDS, UTMB, whatever it is. But at some point, they maybe will have completed all of the races. I mean, God knows how long it would take you to actually get into all three races now. But what would you think about after you've done UTMB? Like this time next year, do you think I want to go again? I want to I want to have a better showing of myself. I've got the year's experience. I've done the loop. Or are you maybe then going to think, well, maybe I want to try something else?
Yeah, like, but that is it, really, isn't it? It's like if UTMB went really well, and if it could go two ways. UTMB could go really bad, and all you say is, well, I need to get back to UTMB so that I can prove myself once again, because I had a shit day at UTMB. Or I have a really good day at UTMB, but then I think, oh, wait, if I train a little bit harder, could I do better? Now I have a year's experience, so the draw would still be there. But there's also some cool races, like after UTMB. Like there's the other Swiss race, the Swiss Alps 100.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that race. And it's like kind of like that where I could go and experience UTMB and train in Chamonix for that race as such. Because I think that you did it a few years ago and I just thought that looked like a really cool race. So I am interested in doing that race. So that's like on my kind of bucket list. But now having now having the race this year in May,
Swiss Canyon
Swiss
Trail.
Canyons. Yeah, so now
Swiss
having
Canyon
Swiss,
Trail. Ricky, get
yeah.
it right.
So now having Swiss Canyon Trail, that's like, oh, well, if I'm not doing that one, at least I'm doing this one. So that'll give me some kind of experience what it's like to run in Switzerland. And then I still might get to do UTMB as well. So that's winning, right? So that's winning again. But there's loads of other things, like even the World Trail Majors, like the race in South Africa. I'd like to do that race. I think that'd be a super cool race, and also as a let's say as a professional athlete that wants to do well at races, a little bit of me always thinks that, well, maybe I could go and do the World Trail Majors and maybe I could rank higher, in that top 10, get close to that podium, you know what I mean, in one of those races, because maybe they're not as stacked as some of the UTMB races, but then there's also other UTMB races that aren't so stacked, and I'd be looking at those as well. And that's me being as honest as I can, because there's certain races you look at and you go, well, that one is stacked there. There's very little chance. I would need 10 lads to drop dead to come in the top 10, and you have to be real at times. Like, you have to be honest with yourself and say, well, maybe if I did that race, there's a race there in Thailand at a certain time of the year, it's in November, that's a race that I could do really well in. That's how I always look at these races too. It's like you're trying to pick the best race for you at the best time.
Yeah, totally. And like I have done UTMB. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Perfect finger. I've done it twice. And part of me thinks, yeah, I have never really enjoyed or felt like I've got everything out of it. Do you know what I mean? Well, if I compare
Yeah.
how I've done on other races of similar stats, it's taken me a lot less time than what it did for UTMB. Now, maybe part of that's the nighttime start as well. Um, but I would maybe like to do it again at some point. But then there's also the fact that I actually think UTMB week is much better experienced when you're not running than
Yeah.
actually going to race. So I was sort of thinking I would might apply for OCC next year, but because that's the only one I haven't done. Like it existed after I'd finished them all, basically. So maybe OCC would be nice to tick that off. But I'm also looking forward to future years whenever it's the Trail Talk PTL team.
Yeah, yes. Yes, yes. That'd be deadly. Yeah, but it's funny the way, like, I was with you this year at UTMB as a spectator, and then the year before I was in Chamonix where you crewed me for TDS, and I gotta say, like, I was racing TDS and you were crewing me. That was that was a very, very big high. Do you know what I mean? That was super cool, because even though I was racing, I felt like I got to experience UTMB, because TDS is early in the week and you get to take in a lot more of it. But I don't know, just there was just something about it that it was you that was crewing for me as well. And I don't know, it felt like it wasn't just me racing. Do you get me? Like it felt more than just me racing. Like it felt like it was us racing and we had a team, and it was, I don't know, it was almost more community driven or something. There was just something different about that than most other races for me. Like,
Yeah, well, it did feel like there was a team doing it, but then because I was crewing you, the whole community was interested and behind that effort as well. So that's why it just felt like way bigger
the,
than this guy doing this race.
yeah,
So
because
yeah, like, if we got
yeah.
that next year at UTMB, I'm sure it would be epic.
Mm, yeah, I think so. I think so. And like vice versa. I think, like, if it was you racing and me crewing, it could feel different for you then, it could feel more like, the what I was saying for you, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I don't know now. I don't know. It might tire you to be out there for 35
Yeah.
hours screwing me.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up. But last segment, I wanted to talk about Trail Talk podcast through the year. Like
Mm.
we've had an incredible year of podcasting, live streams almost every week for 13 months. Trail Talk's going into, or well, actually well into, like we're a few months down the line into our third year of consistent shows. What were the highlights for you? Like what stood out as like good guests, interesting podcasts? Because some like not several of them, dozens of them you're not on. You're on the live shows. Like that's your home is on the live shows, but you're also on some of the other guest ones as well, and more of that going forward. But what were some of the highlights of the Trail Talk year for you?
I think like for me as a let's say as a watcher of the show or whatever from an outsider looking in, what you did around tour was brilliant. That was a huge highlight. Like, you know, like that has me invested in tour, if you know what I mean. Like, and I like and this is going on since last year as well, because I would have never looked at tour. I would have never looked at. I would have went, yeah, yeah, cool race. I've no interest in it. But over the last 2 years, because I'm invested in Trail Talk, and then I'm invested in what you're doing, and when you're bringing tour to the level you're bringing it, I'm like going, oh. I want to do tour, like obviously not ready for it, but I want to do it because whatever you've been bringing to the podcast, like from tour, has been like a very very high level, and then the guests you had on from tour as well, like Martin was, incredible guest, like so. Yeah, that tour for me and the Martin interview and all the footage around that, like yeah, that was definitely a highlight for me.
Yeah, like tour for me is just the ultimate. I cannot wait to go back next year. And also, like straight after UTMB, I'm going to just spend time and do the tour route again and do more of it, spend longer out there. And the key to that is not partying too hard on the Sunday after UTMB,
Mm,
because that delayed one day of start for me in Cormier, because I was a little bit exhausted. It wasn't, wouldn't say it was hangover. I was just like exhausted from, you know, burning the candle at both ends. But Brian Mullins was like probably my
ah,
favorite podcast of
yeah,
the year.
yeah,
Second at the Tour de Glacier, the 450K at Tour de Jean. Uh, an Irish athlete who has, I just love his outlook on it. And it's the one thing that I learned from being around all of the people who are performing at Tour, at the 450 and the 330. It's this attitude of, it's like, it's not 330K, it's not 450K. It doesn't matter if the 330 actually is 350. Sure, that's class.
yeah,
We love being out there in the mountains. It's about moving through the mountains as efficiently as possible, taking care of yourself and dealing with things as they come around and just being able to move through the mountains. And I just love that philosophy. Like
yeah,
that's what I've tried to embody in like lots of things that I would do. Like it's very, if you put it into like layman's terms for anybody in day-to-day life. Like if you're like nervous about a job interview, if you just frame that of as I'm just going to talk about something that I'm passionate about to this person at the other side of a desk, then it kind of reframes it that it's not as daunting. And
yeah,
that's what these pro athletes are doing at tour. They're reframing it that it's not this, 30,000 meters of vert, you know, epic multi-day thing. It's like I love being in the mountains and go and experience these amazing mountains in a supported manner with the amazing aid stations and volunteers. And that is the mindset to embody when you're doing epic shit. So
yeah.
like,
It's like I messaged this into the group the other day, that it's not the altitude, it's the attitude, right? I don't know, that might seem like a real corny thing to say, but that's what it is, man. It's like it's the attitude, like you know yourself, Aaron, when you start a big mile or 100K race, the first kilometer that beeps on your watch, you just say, well, that's one down, 99 to go. And you say that with a smile and a laugh and a joke, but you're embracing the day. You're embracing the challenge ahead. And that's why we love it. That's why you're there. You're there to like take it all in and be out for like, I remember the very first time that I was out in an ultra that I went over 10 hours, and I was like, man, I've been running for 10 fucking hours. This is deadly. This is deadly. This is the coolest thing ever. So they're just doing that the same like happy, fun way, just on a completely different level of like 4 days, 5 days, whatever amount of days. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, and it epitomizes the fact that it is so mental. Like if these races scare the shit out of you to the point that it stifles your ability, then you need to reframe the mindset.
Yeah.
So that's like Tor, Brian Mullins, those takeaways from being around it, that was the highlight of Trail Talk for me. And then in terms of like popularity of podcasts, everyone loves Andy Glaze. Andy Glaze podcast, the Moab 240 one, that was actually one of our best performing ones. But also right up there, like those Andy Your States recap was actually a really popular podcast. And then the
Yeah.
Brian Mullins as well. And then notable mention for Martin Perrier. His podcast went down really well. And I'm basing this on views, comments, interactions across all the podcast platforms. So some great ones there. But see, to be honest, like the difference between the Andy Glaze one and the GPT Miler recap was only a couple of hundred views. You know, they're still all getting a couple of thousand views, which is great across Spotify anyway. So yeah, been a great year for Trail Talk. More of the same. I think going into 2026, the big thing that viewers and the audience can come to expect is that you will be on more of the offline podcasts that we record with guests, because I just think that's more fun for me. Like I think the most fun we have on podcasts is whenever, yeah, we have 4 or 5 agenda topics that we're going to talk about, but then we just talk. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just we're just chatting about the shit that we enjoy chatting about, and we just happen to be hitting record. But sometimes, if we weren't doing this every week, we would end up be chatting on the phone about stuff.
Yeah, it's like that's what I do always say. It's like I said, like I don't I don't understand why anyone watches this or listens to this because it's just two lads talking shite, like you know. But I mean, that's what it is. It's just two mates talking about a sport we love and what interests us, and we're not alone. You know what I mean? Like this is what we're all interested in.
Yeah, yeah, well said. So let's wrap it up. You've got to get out for your run. I'll be checking Strava later to see what it'll be, but
It's a
it'll be an
just so you
hour's
know,
run.
it's a 9:45 at night time. Just so you know.
Are you gonna do it?
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Right.
I have to do it now because I if I say it out loud, I have to do it. That's just it. Like I can't not do it now because then
It's
I'm a
it's done.
I'm a f- I'm a spoofer.
Yeah, Ricky Wynn is not a fraud. All right. The recap of the year, not the podcast, but the year of Ultra Trail recap comes out on Thursday in Europe, on Friday in the Southern Hemisphere. Watch out for that. Happy Christmas to all of the audience. Thank you for an amazing year together, the great Trail Talk community. We are more than appreciative of it. We hope to chat to you more in the WhatsApp, in person, at races, wherever. If you're not on WhatsApp, the DMs are still open. We enjoy chatting about this stuff just like we enjoy chatting to each other. So we wish you a happy Christmas. Jump into the Trill Talk WhatsApp and stay tuned for a big 2026, right, Ricky?
Hell yeah, man.
Is that it?
That's it. That's it. Yeah, keep showing up.
All right, man. Have a good Christmas. Peace.
Peace.